Comcast has built a broadband network with one simple purpose: to keep customers connected every single day. In the last 10 years, we have invested $30 billion and $15 billion since 2017 alone to keep America's largest gig-speed broadband network fast, secure, and reliable. Because more Americans rely on Comcast to stay connected, we work around the clock to build a better network every single day. Comcast. Better today, even better tomorrow. Learn more at comcast.com/network.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Collins II, and with me via Facebook Messenger is my co-host, the co-hostess with the mostest. What's your name?
The Matthew Lowenbrow Haas.
Lowenbrow.
Yeah, it's a beer company.
Like the beer.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them to sponsor me.
Okay. Are they still around?
Yeah, but barely.
Or barely.
Yeah, get it. Barely.
So today we decided to take a break from our normal direct-to-video sequel, journey, and decided to do a direct-to-TV pilot sequel sort of thing. So back in 1995, some geniuses at Touchstone Pictures and ABC decided that they would greenlight a pilot based on the 1994 debut film of Kevin Smith, Clerks. And all they made was a pilot because it didn't get picked up by ABC. It was passed on, thank God, because who knows where the world of the View Askew universe would have gone if this would have been popular. Yes, like I said, it was filmed in 1995. It has none of the original actors in the movie. I mean, not in the movie, in the TV show. It was, they recast the roles of Dante and Randall with, let me look up these actors' names really quick. Andrew Lowry.
Jim Brewer.
Andrew Lowry played Dante Hicks, and then, Jim Brewer, who we know from Saturday Night Live and Half-Baked and stand-up comedy and other things, was cast as Randall Graves. So, we did not have the brilliance of Brian O'Halloran or Jeff Anderson.
Nope.
Nope.
And instead, Jim Brewer acting at maybe 10% of his potential, which just made it fall flat and weird. And
no offense to any of the actors involved in this project, they were just looking for a paycheck,
Yeah.
You can't blame them. Gone are Jay and Silent Bob and all the cool customers that we had original movie. Replaced with a ice cream guy named Todd, played by Rick Gomez. We also had a guy named Ray instead of Jay from Silent Bob, played by Bodie Elfman, a.k.a. husband to Dharma, and Jenna Elfman, and I believe brother to Danny Elfman. So, the film composer. Played a character named Jay who just was a shoplifter instead of a couple of drug dealers outside, because I think there was some legal reasons for this. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember hearing something from Kevin Smith where he owned the rights to the characters of Jay and Silent Bob, but not the rights to the other characters. So they could not use them, so they basically created these other two characters to kind of replace them in a way. And we also have the character of Veronica reappearing, this time played by Noelle Parker instead of Marilyn Gigalotti. We also have a very young Kerry Russell in this film, in this TV pilot, playing a character who is named Sandra, who works at a tanning salon in the complex where I'm assuming Quick Stop. I don't know if they ever say Quick Stop in this.
No.
Exists. Yeah. Do they call it anything, or is it just assumed that it's the Quick Stop?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't even look like the Quick Stop. It's a completely different plaza. And
yeah, but I'm just saying, are we supposed to assume that this is a Quick Stop, or do they ever give a name and call it the carry out or whatever?
They just say the store. I mean, you still got the movie rental place right next door and that kind of thing.
Yeah. But they may have had legal reasons too with that, based upon the owners of those buildings.
Yeah.
Because Quick Stop and RST Video are real locations. So yeah. Kevin Smith obviously had no involvement in this whatsoever. This was basically a watered down PG version of the film, and made to appeal to the television demographic of ABC. I mean, if you wanted to do a series based on Clerks, at this time, I think it should have been on HBO or Showtime.
Yeah.
That's my feeling on it. What are your feelings here, Matt, after seeing
this? I think it's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And that's up there with the Larry the Cable Guy movies like Tooth Fairy 2 and Jingle All the Way to it just wasn't funny at all. I mean, it was every joke fell flat on its ass, and it almost felt like the characters were the actors were making fun of the show that they were on, they knew how terrible it was.
Could have been.
Almost had this little smirk, what?
I said it could have been that's what they were doing.
Jim Brewer especially, it's almost like he was making fun of the fact that he was playing this extremely watered down version of Randall. And that's interesting because 1995, okay, because I just recently watched the documentary about the Dana Carvey show, and this seems to be a year where ABC just made a lot of weird mistakes about what they thought a show either would be, in the case of Dana Carvey's show, where they thought it's he's just gonna do Church Lady and it's gonna be great for us type of thing, and instead they get this really weird sketch comedy show that's decades ahead of its time. but then on the flip side with Clerks, they're like, okay, well, we know what the real Clerks is, but we're gonna just completely make our own shitty version of it. Like,
yeah, it's but luckily at least this didn't air.
Right? Yeah, didn't even make it.
Yeah, I mean the pilot resurfaced probably about 5 or 6 years ago online. I will link it in the show notes too, so if you want to watch it and before you listen to our review, the rest of our review, or if you just want to watch it anyways. I mean, I warn you, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a quick break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and talk more about it, like some trivia and some other things?
Sure.
Yeah, be right back, folks.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space, and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
And we are back, folks. Welcome to The Quiet Storm with Matt and Mike.
The Quiet Storm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Wait, that's not what we're doing, right?
No, we're not doing New Age stuff right now.
Oh, I was about to play the latest from Enya. And
Not that yet.
Oh, okay.
No, that's a different podcast.
Oh, okay.
Quiet Storm.
Yeah. Quiet Storm.
Where we review our favorite New Age albums. Oh, hear that keyboard drone? Oh, man. That's a good one right there.
Was that a theremin? I heard that. Wait, okay. Anyways, so back to the Clerks unaired TV pilot. First off, like we said, different cast. This was directed by Michael Lesek, written by Richard Day, based on characters created by Kevin Smith. Michael Lesek, I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Lessac. So, I think I'm pronouncing Michael right.
I
don't know. Not sure if anybody knows how to pronounce the name Michael. So, it looks like he just directed a bunch of sitcoms. So, like the Tony Danza Show, Everybody Loves Raymond, George and Leo, The Naked Truth, Grace Under Fire, Drew Carey Show, Jackie Thomas Show, Newhart, and on and on and on. Taxi. So he goes back quite a while. So instead of having somebody with no offense to this Michael Lesek guy, instead of having a young person with a fresh, point of view like Kevin Smith was, we're going to get a guy who directed Taxi, like 20 years after the show went off the air. Well, not 20 years, but, like 15 years after the show went off the air. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just seems a little weird to me.
It's just the whole format was just like your really like typical sitcom, like with a laugh track and everything, and it just like was nothing like Clerks. I mean, the whole point of Clerks, the reason why people love it or hate the movie is because it's so weird. Where and
realistic. At the time, it was one of the most realistic movies because it was basically just like, oh, we put a camera in this carryout. Sure, they spoke kind of flowery in Kevin Smith language, but it was basically just two dudes hanging out in a carryout. It's basically what it was. It was a slice of life sort of thing.
Yeah, like real conversations that like you would have, if you spent like an entire day with someone. You just start having really stupid conversations like about Star Wars and stuff like that. Not licking an ice cream cone and going, "Let the goddess speak." Laugh track. No one talks like that ever. So
yeah.
Unless you're living in the TV show, which then that's its own type can of worms right there. Or like I'm melting or whatever the fuck was going on. And
I've read a couple of reviews where they say that this looks like it was an episode of Saved by the Bell.
It might as well have been as corny. I mean,
yeah.
like okay, so like the thing I'm talking about, like the whole like actors like knowing how stupid it was and like almost making fun of the show that they're in. Like when Dante is talking to I forgot her name, but the one who works in the tanning salon,
Sandra, played by Carrie Russell.
Sandra. And yeah, and he's like, you seem like you're health conscious person, but how come you tan yourself all the time or whatever in those tanning booths or whatever? And she's like, oh, don't tell me you're one of those people that believes that tanning causes cancer. And he's like, you mean like a smart person? Like he even does this little head jerk, like, oh yeah, I got you good there. I'm like, oh my god, this is like embarrassing to watch. Like,
and
I don't know.
I don't know if it's actually been proven that. I'm not sure. Do tanning beds cause cancer or just the sun?
I don't remember.
That's what I'm wondering too. Because
it could be if you do too much of it. I don't know, but
yeah.
And then she's like, well, what does cause cancer? She's like, lotion. And then that's when Jim Brewer's Randall's like, oh, lotion doesn't do anything. Then he like touches his face and like, oh my god, I'm melting. I'm like, oh my god, it's just like I feel bad, like for the fact that like he had to do that. That like the director like made him do that for money. Like it just felt so like I felt like I'm watching like exploitation like right now. Like and so I'm glad that he got out of that and became famous and made money because that just made me sad that it almost looked like he was making fun of the fact that like you ever seen Ninja Turtles 3?
Yeah.
The movie?
Yeah.
Okay, well there's a scene near the end of the movie where like they say something like it makes no sense whatsoever. It was just like they were just like name dropping like current movies that were popular at that time that like the audience would know about, just so that then that would like plant the idea in the audience like, oh, I better go see that movie now because it had nothing to do with like, okay, so like the bad guy in Turtles 3 shows up and then like the Turtles are like, what were you expecting? Like the Addams Family? And it's like, why would he be expecting the Addams Family? He doesn't know what the Addams Family is because this takes place in the year 1200 AD. What? Like, and like they kind of like do this like little nudge, like it's almost like they're like making fun of the fact of how shitty, stupid the line is. Anyway,
I have a theory. I have a theory that that's where the writers of Big Bang Theory got their idea to just drop popular cultural references in their show and then think it's funny. It's like da 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 da, Thundercats, da 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 da, Transformers, ha ha ha, that's funny. No, it's not.
It's like, why is it? You're just mentioning books. Like, I mean, it's like me, like Ford Taurus, Dodge Neon. Oh, he got him good. Why? He's naming cars. Like, what?
Rick,
you don't get it. Funny.
Rick Ocasek. Oh wait, we're not naming those cars. Oh wait, sorry. Wow.
Yeah, maybe they did get the idea from that. Anyway, I'm kind of going off here, but just that's what it kind of reminded me of. Like, like they were just making fun of the fact that they had to do this for money. It was so terrible. Not only that, the plot. Okay, so Clerks 1 and Clerks 2. There's it's very low stakes, but like they take it so serious, and it leads to like a whole like terrible problem, and that's what makes it funny. In this, it's like, oh, Dante has to serve a customer that he went to high school with, and the guy's gonna be a rich lawyer now, and he feels inadequate because he works at the Quick Stop,
which is really funny because I'm not saying, not giving this show any props at all, but there was a similar character played by Jason Lee in Clerks 2, the movie.
Yes.
So that's just kind of weird. There was a similar like subplot there about how he felt inadequate. Dante felt inadequate. The same thing too. I mean, but it also was basically kind of the Rick Darris sort of character too, where you feel inadequate because in the movie Clerks, the original, Rick Darris comes in and he can, he works out at the gym, and he can lift stuff and everything. Ernie O'Donnell's character. And if you have not heard our interview with Ernie O'Donnell, please look that up in the news, not the news feed, but in the podcast platform you're listening to right now. It's a great interview with Ernie O'Donnell. Hopefully we're going to have him on again soon sometime. But I think it was kind of like trying to be like that type of character, instead of it's just something to make. I know what they were going for, but it's just really just kind of weird. I'm wondering what else the writer of this, Richard Day, what else he's written. Let's see here really quick. He was a younger guy then, it looks like, too. So, but he was a producer on Arrested Development. He was a producer on he was a producer on Mad About You. Producer on the Larry Sanders Show. So some good things here. Yeah. Let's see what he's written though. He wrote like 5 episodes of Arrested Development. Seeing if anything else. Wrote an episode of Spin City, Larry Sanders Show, a bunch of Mad About You. A bunch of the Ellen TV series that she did, the Ellen DeGeneres thing. Wrote an episode of Dinosaurs. We recently talked to Stuart Pankin from that. So this guy's actually seems like a decent writer. So
yeah,
but yeah, this episode is just so formulaic. I mean, I almost recommend people watching it just to kind of get an idea of how a sitcom is so blandly written back in the 90s. Because a lot of sitcoms were blandly written like this.
Yeah.
Because
they just would.
A lot of times sitcoms are something that you come home at the end of the day, you don't want to think too much after your long day at work or whatever. And I think that's what a lot of people were going for back in, especially in the 80s and 90s, where it's just like, come home from the factory or the Walmart or whatever, and you just want to relax and not think. So you don't want something too complicated or too dense for you to watch. And that explains why The Big Bang Theory was on for 11 years. And it also explains why Friends was on for so long, even though I do like that show. It also explains why How I Met Your Mother was on for so long. A lot of these shows, they're well written. There are dense aspects, and there are ways to make them better. But because I think the writing on like How I Met Your Mother is a lot better than the writing on this pilot or Big Bang Theory. But a lot of those like 3-camera setup sitcoms with the laugh track and everything are pretty bland now. It's because they look antiquated and old compared to like watching something like The Office or Parks and Rec or 30 Rock or AP Bio or Superstore or stuff like that. That's all like single camera,
Yeah.
And I don't know if people know the difference between single camera and 3-camera setup. 3-camera setup is the classic sitcom like I Love Lucy, where you have you have close-ups and a wide. You have like 3 cameras, basically a wide shot close-up on one actor, a close-up on the other. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 camera setup, depending on how many people you have on set. But a single handheld, or not handheld, but a single camera thing is something like Malcolm in the Middle or, The Office or stuff like that, where it's just one camera. Feels more like a movie.
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit of information that probably is boring some of our fans out there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're sorry.
I'm wearing a sorry. Oh wait. Anyways, so I'm in a weird mood, Matt. Anyways, so what's the basic plot here,
Matt? All right, so basically it's like a combination of the movie where Dante's girlfriend's like wants him to think more about like what he wants to do with his life, kind of like in the first in the movie, and he's like making all these stupid wisecracks like I don't even remember because they're so stupid. But anyway, so after he meets this guy Cliff, he's like gonna go move to New York and become a big time lawyer, and Dante's still mad at him from high school because when they were in high school they would used to spray paint the town tower, like water tower, and like I guess the cops came and then that Cliff guy told on him and said that he just went up there to kind of talk him down, and he's trying to like get his girlfriend to like see that this guy's not a really good guy or whatever. So he finds out that Cliff is like throwing like a party for like his last night in town or whatever, and convinces him, let's go paint the tower like we used to in high school. And he's like, well, that's kind of a good idea, but maybe we could do this. Like, no, Cliff says let's go paint the tower. So everyone's like, yeah, paint the tower. Like, this is like what everyone thinks is fun. They're like, they're not in high school anymore. They're like in their 20s at this point. They're like, yeah, paint the tower, woo! So, 80 people basically from the party show up to watch the two guys spray paint the town's water tower because that's what they think is fun there, I guess. And then, lo and behold, the cops came again, and Cliff then, rats out Dante for the second time, and it proves that, he was right about him, that it's like, this is what your pilot's about, is some random tertiary character that shows up midway through the episode, whatever. And that was pretty much the plot right there. Yeah. And that was the whole freaking plot, was I gotta prove to my girlfriend this guy who's gonna leave town and one day is a bad guy. Don't trust him. You're never gonna see him again anyway, but I need you to not trust him for some reason. I don't know.
And yeah, it lacked the heart and I don't know, the innovation of the original movie. It like there was in the movie we had all those like crazy characters, like the guy who was counting eggs or checking eggs in the that Walt Flanagan played, and and you had like in an hour and a half movie, you had different things happen that made more sense than this half-hour TV show could do. And, like, I don't know, the whole playing hockey on the roof and everything, it was like, it felt real because it was real. It was based on Kevin's life,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, because he worked at the Quick Stop when he wrote it. He put people in there that he knew, that most of the cast were his friends. It just felt like a real, almost like a documentary in a way. Not really, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This just felt so freaking formulaic and boring. Like, I knew what was going to happen every minute before it happened.
Yeah. It's just bizarre that they even thought to do. I mean, I understand some things, like watering down something a little bit, but it's almost like you're taking like a straight up like pornographic film, and then you're gonna make a TV show version of it, and it's like, it's like complete. I mean, I'm not comparing Clerks to porn, but I'm just saying,
I know what you mean. Because
yeah.
Clerks had to fight to get an R rating. It was going to be an NC-17 rated movie.
Yeah.
Because of the language. And, I mean, it had more F words in it per minute than, like, any other movie at that time. Maybe, Pulp Fiction or something had more, but it was, like, one of the most at that time. And, to take that, not that I'm saying that you have to have bad words for something to feel real, because, I mean, I've felt realness in something as stupid as Dawson's Creek, but, it's just, there's it didn't feel authentic. That's the thing, and the main problem that they had is that they did not have Kevin Smith involved in it.
Yeah.
I mean, he did do a animated series later based on Clerks, which didn't last a whole season, and they burned off the episodes on like Comedy Central or something later. But it was actually funny.
Yeah,
and you had the original actors doing the voices. So, but it didn't take itself to the point so seriously where it was like definitely in the same universe as the movie, and you knew that, and they didn't want you to think otherwise. Jay and Silent Bob they knew they were a cartoon, basically.
Yeah.
This, however, felt like a cartoon, even though it was live action. That's just kind of how I felt about it. Do you want to take another break here really quick, Matt, and then we'll come back with some trivia and maybe some user reviews on this?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Need a new podcast to listen to? Well, why not check out the Super Podcast from the Super Network at supermarcy.com, where we discuss films and pop culture, and we do monthly fan-voted commentaries. We are available on all major podcasting platforms.
Okay, and we are back.
Back.
My name is Mike, as you know, just reminding you. This is Matt. How are you, Matt?
Mm-hmm. Mike and David Icke. Whoa.
Nope. No lizard people here.
That should be a good documentary called Mike and David Icke, and it's where we do a documentary about David Icke, but it's not about any of like his conspiracy theory stuff. It's just like regular stuff he does throughout the day, like goes grocery shopping. And
we talked to him about his sportscasting career.
Yeah, that's the whole documentary. It's like there's not one mention of any of his books. Or
we just ask him. So when you make a salad, what kind of dressing do you like? Do you use dressing, or do you
Yeah.
Do you like cheese?
Fresh take.
Do you like cheese on hamburgers, or do you like the Beatles or the Stones? Do you like?
Yeah.
Are you more of an NSYNC guy or a Backstreet Boy guy? Come on. Oh!
Well.
Surprising fact, though. He likes 98 degrees. Anyways, no reason why.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's some trivia of the little bit of trivia we have for the greatness that was the Clerks unaired pilot. Both Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson, the actors who played Dante and Randall, respectively, in the original Kevin Smith film Clerks, auditioned for the role of Dante. Both of them did, and were not cast. They passed on casting the original Dante as Dante.
Wow.
That's like, you're not Dante enough to be Dante, even though you are Dante.
It's because they knew that it was going to be different than the movies, where they needed an actor to, play it down.
And then, I just find it funny that Jeff Anderson also auditioned for Dante, not for Randall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This was filmed during the production of Kevin Smith's follow-up film Mallrats. Smith had no involvement in this attempt at a series. The end credits is the song Can't Even Tell by Soul Asylum. The music video for the song features Dante and Randall from the movie. This pilot was based on arguing with the band members if they could beat them in roof hockey. That was the original. The song was in the original movie as well as the end of that, but they used it as the end credits for this as well. So here is the one of the reviews from the culled from the annals of the Internet Movie Database, whatever you want to call it. Is it data or data?
I don't know, really.
I do believe that everybody says data, even though it should be data. But they say data because of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Probably, yeah.
That's my theory. Have to look into that someday. Or just live my life and not care. Anyways, okay, here's a 5 out of 10. From
really?
Yeah. This is from somebody named Champ 2000. Well, it was a very cheap set. Saved by the Bell type sets. That's what Brian O'Halloran said. I guess at one time, and it was horrible. They ditched Jay and Bob, added other recurring clerks like the Ice Cream Man, and then took everything good out of Clerks and added in plots that involved like people in the store talking about their lives and horrible lines like that. It was awful, and if you're lucky, you can find the 3 minutes of footage running around the net somewhere. Now the whole thing is, by the way, this was written in 2006. Well, quote unquote, lucky isn't really the right word. But yeah, after Miramax sold the rights to WB then sold them out again for a sitcom. The sitcom was made into a pilot that Brian, Jeff, and Marilyn tried out for, got rejected. Horrible, horrible stuff. Okay. Yeah.
So, why did they give it a 5 out of 10 then?
I have no clue. I found a very detailed 3 out of 10 review, but again, it's very detailed, and I don't feel like reading all of it, so I'm not going to. Okay, so this is 2 out of 10 from Sand Cooler. I like that name. Anyways, it was written on June 16th of 2015. the pilot nobody wants you to see. I'm not quite sure how this would even work, but this sitcom pilot was made without prior knowledge, let alone consent of Kevin Smith. He did write and direct the movie this is supposedly based on, but informing him about this spin-off seemed a bridge too far. In all fairness, though, this is barely has anything to do with the movie, which begs a lot of questions. Clerks was an underground hit, but is it really so famous that merely using its name gets you great ratings? And would actual fans of the movie turn this off after 5 minutes, noticing that the only thing it has in common is a store setting and characters named Dante and Randall? They don't even have Jay and Silent Bob. There are really only two quite fascinating things about this pilot. The constant waves of canned laughter after lines you didn't even identify as jokes, and the fact that SNL alumnus Jim Brewer is playing Randall. Apart from that, this might just be the longest half hour of your life. Yeah. So they loved it, man. Oh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's really hard to take a movie and turn it into a TV series. MASH comes to mind, and so does MASH.
And MASH. See, I always thought that the MASH movie came out first before the show.
It did.
I think. Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Because you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember seeing that once. I rented it from like the video store, and I was like, wait, I thought MASH was a TV show, but then there's a movie called MASH. So then I watched it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's definitely the same story.
Yeah, it's based on a book too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the guy who wrote it, he served in a MASH unit or something during the Korean War, so he wrote a book based on it. His experiences. But yeah, I can't really think of any other TV shows that are based on movies that were really that good. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing something. There was probably one good one out there that...
Yeah.
It's hard. And so I think it's kind of, it's a hard bar to follow. I mean, when you have a movie that is so respected and raised to that high of a level.
Yeah.
At that time. I don't know. It's hard to make TV.
Yeah. Well, like it depends. I guess sometimes it looks like it's being written by a 10-year-old. So,
yeah.
Oh, the Flash. Oh, Wolverine. Laugh track.
You're not talking about Big Bang Theory, are you?
No, of course not. No.
Always have, I'll say something sexy and funny to a customer in our diner. Oh, ha, 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 we're two broke girls. And
yep.
Anyways, I think that's about all I had to say on Clerks, the unaired pilot. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's really not much more to say about it. I mean, it's pretty much, that was it. One pilot episode, 21 minutes long. Over half of it was dedicated to let's spray paint the town's water tower like it's that 70s show, which came out 3 years later after this episode was filmed, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But I wonder if someone worked on that set or could have just been a coincidence. But I would not recommend watching this episode unless you're just like studying like bad TV and like tropes and stuff like that, or
how basically. I think I'm going to title this episode "How Not to Make a Sitcom," based on a movie. or something. I don't know yet. We'll decide. We'll see. You'll read what I called it, folks, when you look at the little show notes. So anyways, should we just wrap things up here, Matt?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, hopefully you'll join us again, folks. We love you, folks. Stay healthy out there. You know, wear a mask. It's not that hard. Just wear a fucking mask. That's all you gotta do. You know? I'm gonna leave some links in the show notes to Matt's music, to some charities you can donate to help out people. I'm also gonna leave a link to this pilot as well if you want to watch it. You know, I mean, if you have like 30 minutes of your life to waste, go ahead. You know. Right now we're supposed to be quarantining half the people in the world. You know, so you know maybe you can. You know, you watched everything on Netflix and Disney Plus. You know, go ahead and watch this. You know. Alrighty. So until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.